What does it truly mean to be wealthy? Is it the size of your bank account, the luxury of your possessions, or the prestige of your social status? These questions have puzzled humanity for millennia. However, perhaps no philosophical tradition has offered more profound and practical insights than Stoicism. Founded in Athens around 300 BCE, Stoicism presents a radical perspective on wealth that resonates powerfully in our modern era of consumerism and social comparison. The Stoics didn't equate wealth with material abundance or external markers of success. Instead, they saw true wealth as an internal state, a condition of self-sufficiency, moderated desires, and inner freedom. The Stoic View offers a refreshing alternative in a world where we are constantly bombarded with messages equating happiness with acquisition. It challenges us to look beyond the superficial trappings of wealth and consider what truly enriches our lives. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, said Epictetus, a formerly enslaved person who became one of Stoicism's most influential teachers. This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to wealth, suggesting that true richness comes not from accumulating more, but from needing less. Seneca, another towering figure in Stoic philosophy, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." These words cut to the heart of our modern dilemma, the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction that keeps us chasing after the next big thing, never quite satisfied with what we have. The Stoics didn't just criticize the pursuit of wealth, they offered a constructive alternative. They advocated for a life of virtue, self-discipline, and inner cultivation. "He is the most powerful person who has power over himself," Seneca advised, pointing to self-mastery as the ultimate form of wealth. This perspective invites us to redefine what it means to live a prosperous life. It encourages us to look inward for fulfillment, rather than constantly seeking it in external circumstances. The Stoics teach us that true wealth lies in our ability to find contentment in the present moment, cultivate wisdom and courage, and live in harmony with our deepest values. In this video, we'll explore the Stoic approach to wealth. We'll examine how to define personal wealth in a way that aligns with our authentic selves, not societal expectations. We'll discuss the liberating practice of knowing what is enough and how it can free us from the tyranny of endless wants. We'll also delve into the counterintuitive Stoic practice of voluntary poverty, a powerful tool for cultivating gratitude and resilience. And we'll explore how to build genuine, lasting wealth by developing our inner resources and living a life of purpose and integrity. The wisdom of the Stoics offers us a pathway to a more prosperous, meaningful existence. It shows us that the wealthiest life is not filled with the most possessions, but the one most aligned with our values, most at peace with itself, and most open to the richness of human experience. The Stoics, through their keen observations and life experiences, developed a profound understanding of the paradoxical nature of material wealth. Their insights challenge our conventional notions of what it means to be rich, offering a perspective that is both enlightening and liberating. Let's begin with Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. In one of his letters, he writes, "Money doesn't make you rich. These individuals have riches just as we say we have a fever when the fever really has us." This powerful metaphor reveals Seneca's view that wealth often possesses people rather than vice versa. Seneca observed that many wealthy individuals in Rome were paradoxically among the poorest in spirit. Money had made them obsessive, controlled their schedules, and surrounded them with insincere flatterers. Instead of providing freedom, their wealth had become a burden, enslaving them to constant worry and the fear of loss. This idea is echoed in another of Seneca's quotes. "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Here, Seneca points to the greedy nature of desire. No matter how much wealth one accumulates, one remains spiritually impoverished if the craving for more persists. Epictetus, another towering figure in Stoic philosophy, shared this perspective. A formerly enslaved person who gained his freedom and became a respected teacher, Epictetus had a unique insight into the true nature of wealth and liberty. He once shared a story about a man who had been offered a lucrative job by the Emperor Augustus. The man came to Epictetus boasting about the money and fame he would gain. Epictetus, however, was unimpressed. He responded with probing questions that cut to the heart of what truly matters in life. "I told him not to touch it," Epictetus told his students. When the man protested that he would make a lot of money, Epictetus replied, "Yes, for little in return." The man argued that many people would learn his name, to which Epictetus asked, "Are you planning to be there every time someone utters your name?" When the man said his name would outlive him, Epictetus said, "So will a rock you carve your name into." Finally, when the man boasted about wearing a gold crown, Epictetus delivered the coup de grace. "And they will put a crown made of roses on you for your funeral. You will look even more elegant in that." Through this dialogue, Epictetus demonstrates the fleeting and unsatisfying nature of external markers of wealth and success. He encourages us to look beyond surface-level gains and consider the true cost of pursuing wealth, the sacrifices, compromises, and spiritual poverty that often accompany it. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher king, also weighed in on this topic. He famously said, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This observation highlights how our perception of wealth is often shaped more by societal expectations and the judgments of others than by our values and sense of fulfillment. The Stoics recognized that true wealth comes from within, from a state of inner freedom, contentment, and self-mastery. As Epictetus put it, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This radical redefinition of wealth shifts our focus from external accumulation to internal cultivation. By moderating our desires, cultivating contentment with what we have, and developing our inner resources, the Stoics argue that we can achieve a wealth far more durable and satisfying than material riches. These ancient insights challenge us to reevaluate our modern notions of wealth and success. They invite us to consider, are we genuinely enriched by the size of our bank accounts or the number of possessions we accumulate? Or can we find a deeper, more enduring form of richness by mastering ourselves, moderating our desires, and focusing on what truly matters in life? The Stoic view on wealth offers us a path to freedom. Freedom from the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction, freedom from the tyranny of others' opinions, and freedom to live a life aligned with our deepest values. In embracing this perspective, we open ourselves to a form of wealth that no market crash can diminish and no thief can steal, the wealth of a life well lived. In exploring the Stoic perspective on wealth, we now turn to a crucial concept: defining personal wealth. The Stoics recognized that true richness is deeply subjective, beyond mere financial abundance. Let's begin with a powerful quote from Epictetus. "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to personal wealth. It suggests that our richness is not determined by what we own, but by our relationship to our desires. Consider for a moment what a rich life means to you. Is it the freedom to travel the world, the ability to spend quality time with loved ones, the opportunity to pursue meaningful work, or the simple pleasure of a quiet life free from financial stress? The answers to these questions will vary significantly from person to person. Some may find wealth in a life of adventure and new experiences, while others may see it in the depth of their relationships or the impact of their work. Still, others define wealth as the freedom to live unburdened by excessive possessions or obligations. The Stoics say, the richest person is not one who has the most, but needs the least. This perspective invites us to shift our focus from accumulation to contentment. Instead of constantly striving for more, we can cultivate satisfaction with what we already have. This doesn't mean we should abandon all ambition or desire for improvement. Instead, it encourages us to be mindful of our wants and to distinguish between what we truly need for a fulfilling life and what society tells us we should want. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of self-sufficiency in defining personal wealth. Another prominent Stoic philosopher advised, make yourself wealthy not by facilitating every whim, but by removing them. This suggests that true wealth comes from our ability to meet our needs, and find contentment within ourselves, rather than relying on external sources for our happiness. Consider the difference between someone who needs constant entertainment, luxury, and validation to feel satisfied and someone who can find joy in simple pleasures, meaningful work, and their own company. Who in this scenario is truly wealthier? The Stoic approach to personal wealth also emphasizes the value of intangible riches. Wisdom, virtue, meaningful relationships, and peace of mind are forms of wealth that can't be measured in monetary terms but are invaluable to a well-lived life. As Epictetus reminds us, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. This attitude of gratitude is a form of wealth, allowing us to appreciate and fully experience the richness of our lives in the present moment. Defining personal wealth, therefore, is a deeply individual process. It involves reflecting on our values, desires, and what brings us genuine fulfillment. It requires us to look beyond societal definitions of success and material abundance and consider what it truly means to live a rich, meaningful life. The Stoic perspective offers a powerful framework for this reflection. By focusing on contentment, self-sufficiency, and the cultivation of inner resources, we can redefine wealth in a way that aligns with our deepest values and aspirations. This redefinition not only frees us from the endless pursuit of more, but also allows us to experience the true richness of our lives in the present moment. In our exploration of the Stoic perspective on wealth, we now turn to a liberating practice at the heart of Stoic wisdom: knowing what is enough. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek more possessions, more achievements, more status, learning to recognize and embrace sufficiency can be a powerful antidote to the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. The Stoics believed that true freedom and contentment come from understanding our needs and desires and discerning when they have been sufficiently met. This practice, known as eudaimonia, or the pursuit of a flourishing life, is about finding balance and avoiding the extremes of excess and deprivation. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that the key to a fulfilling life lies in understanding our true needs and moderating our desires. He said, "If you want to be rich, do not add to your money, but subtract from your desires." This statement encapsulates the essence of knowing what is enough. It's not about accumulating more, but about recognizing when we have enough to be content. To illustrate this principle, consider a simple exercise. Reflect on a moment in your life when you felt genuinely satisfied and content. What were the circumstances? What needs were being met? How did your desires align with what you had? This reflection can help you identify what is truly essential for your happiness and well-being, and distinguish it from the superficial desires that often lead to dissatisfaction. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, offered a practical approach to this practice. He advised, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." This means recognizing that each day offers enough opportunities for contentment and fulfillment. By focusing on the present moment and appreciating what we have, we can cultivate a sense of sufficiency that frees us from the constant pursuit of more. The Stoic practice of knowing what is enough also involves embracing simplicity. The Stoics believed that a simple life, free from unnecessary desires and distractions, allows us to focus on what truly matters. As Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." By simplifying our lives and focusing on our true needs, we can create a sense of abundance that is not dependent on external circumstances. This practice is not about renunciation or asceticism, but about mindful moderation. It's about making conscious choices that align with our values and priorities rather than being driven by societal pressures or the expectations of others. It's about recognizing that we don't need to have everything to live a rich and fulfilling life. One practical way to cultivate this mindset is to regularly assess and reassess our needs and desires. Periodically, reflecting on what we truly need for happiness and well-being allows us to let go of unnecessary wants and focus on what is essential. This practice can help us avoid the trap of constantly seeking more and instead find contentment in what we already have. The Stoics also believed that knowing what is enough involves cultivating gratitude. By regularly acknowledging and appreciating the blessings and abundance in our lives, we can shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. This attitude of gratitude can create a sense of sufficiency that is not dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within. In embracing the practice of knowing what is enough, we can free ourselves from the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. We can find contentment in the present moment, cultivate a sense of abundance that is not dependent on external circumstances, and live a life aligned with our deepest values and priorities. This practice offers a pathway to true wealth, a wealth that is not measured in material terms, but in our ability to live a rich and fulfilling life. In our journey through the Stoic approach to wealth, we now arrive at a practice that may seem counterintuitive in our modern world: voluntary poverty. This practice, advocated by Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus, involves intentionally embracing a simpler, more frugal lifestyle to cultivate resilience, gratitude, and inner freedom. The concept of voluntary poverty is not about destitution or self-imposed deprivation. Instead, it's about periodically choosing to live with less, to develop a deeper appreciation for what we have, and to build the mental and emotional strength to withstand life's inevitable challenges. This practice helps us realize that we can live happily and meaningfully without many of the luxuries and comforts we often take for granted. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, famously practiced voluntary poverty to remind himself of the fleeting nature of material wealth and the importance of inner resilience. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" This exercise helped Seneca confront his fears and anxieties about losing his wealth, showing him that he could endure and even thrive in more straightforward circumstances. Epictetus, who experienced poverty and slavery firsthand, also emphasized the value of voluntary poverty. He taught that true freedom comes not from external wealth, but from inner self-sufficiency. He said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." By practicing voluntary poverty, we can learn to distinguish between our genuine needs and the desires imposed upon us by society. This practice allows us to focus on what truly matters and to develop a sense of sufficiency that is not dependent on external circumstances. The practice of voluntary poverty can take many forms. It might involve living on a minimal budget for a week, simplifying our daily routines, or temporarily giving up certain luxuries and comforts. The goal is not to suffer, but to cultivate a mindset of gratitude and resilience. By experiencing life with less, we can better appreciate what we have and develop the mental and emotional strength to face adversity. Voluntary poverty also encourages us to rethink our relationship with material possessions. In a consumer-driven society, we are often led to believe that happiness and fulfillment come from accumulating more. However, the Stoics remind us that true wealth lies in our ability to find contentment within ourselves. As Epictetus said, "He is a rich man who rejoices in his portion, whatever it may be." By practicing voluntary poverty, we can learn to find joy and satisfaction in the simple pleasures of life. This practice also aligns with the Stoic virtue of temperance, which involves moderation and self-control. By intentionally choosing to live with less, we can develop greater self-discipline and control over our desires. This helps us avoid the extremes of excess and deprivation and cultivate a balanced and fulfilling life. The counterintuitive practice of voluntary poverty offers us a powerful tool for cultivating resilience, gratitude, and inner freedom. It helps us develop a deeper appreciation for what we have, distinguish between our genuine needs and societal desires, and build the mental and emotional strength to face life's challenges. By embracing this practice, we can find true wealth, a wealth that is not measured in material terms, but in our ability to live a rich and meaningful life. As we conclude our exploration of the Stoic approach to wealth, we turn to the question of how to build genuine, lasting wealth. The Stoics believed that true wealth is not about accumulating material possessions, but about cultivating inner resources and living a life of purpose and integrity. The first step in building lasting wealth, according to the Stoics, is to focus on our inner development. This involves cultivating virtues such as wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. These qualities form the foundation of a rich and meaningful life, enabling us to navigate challenges, make wise decisions, and build fulfilling relationships. Seneca advised, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This statement reminds us that true wealth comes from our ability to find contentment within ourselves, rather than from external circumstances. By cultivating inner resources such as wisdom and self-discipline, we can create a sense of abundance that is not dependent on material possessions. Another key aspect of building lasting wealth is to live a life aligned with our values and purpose. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes from living in accordance with our deepest principles and pursuing meaningful goals. As Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This means taking the time to reflect on our values and aspirations and making conscious choices that align with them. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of meaningful relationships in building lasting wealth. Seneca wrote, "Wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool." This suggests that true wealth lies in our relationships and our ability to connect with others meaningfully. Building solid and supportive relationships can create a sense of community and belonging that enriches our lives and provides a source of lasting fulfillment. Financial stability is also an essential aspect of building lasting wealth. The Stoics believed in the value of prudence and self-discipline in managing our resources. This means living within our means, avoiding unnecessary debt, and making wise financial decisions. However, they also recognize that financial stability is a means to an end rather than an end in itself. The goal is to create a foundation that allows us to pursue our values and purpose rather than to accumulate wealth for its own sake. In building genuine, lasting wealth, the Stoics remind us to focus on what truly matters. This means cultivating inner resources, living in alignment with our values and purpose, building meaningful relationships, and achieving financial stability. By doing so, we can create a sense of abundance and fulfillment that is not dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within. The Stoic approach to wealth offers a powerful framework for living a rich and meaningful life. By focusing on inner development, knowing what is enough, embracing simplicity, and building lasting wealth based on our values and relationships, we can find true fulfillment and create a life of genuine abundance. This journey is not about accumulating more, but about cultivating a sense of sufficiency and contentment that allows us to experience the true richness of our lives in the present moment. As we continue our exploration of the Stoic approach to wealth, we delve into the art of detachment. In a world that often equates happiness with possession and accumulation, the concept of detachment can seem counterintuitive. However, the Stoics believed that true wealth and contentment come from our ability to let go of attachments to material possessions, outcomes, and even our own desires. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, is not about renouncing all worldly pleasures or becoming indifferent to life. Instead, it's about cultivating a mindset of inner freedom and resilience. By learning to let go of our attachments, we can navigate life with greater equanimity and focus on what truly matters. As Epictetus taught, do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well. One practical approach to developing detachment is to regularly practice mindfulness and reflection. By taking time to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we can gain greater awareness of our attachments and how they influence our behavior. This practice helps us cultivate a sense of inner peace and freedom, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and composure. Another aspect of detachment is learning to let go of our need for control. The Stoics believed that many of our sufferings come from trying to control things outside our influence. Instead, they advocated focusing on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and responses. By accepting the natural flow of life and relinquishing our need to control external events, we can reduce stress and anxiety and cultivate a deeper sense of inner stability. Seneca emphasized the importance of detachment in his writings. He advised, "He who is brave is free." This statement highlights the connection between courage and detachment. By facing our fears and letting go of our attachments, we can achieve a state of true freedom and contentment. This courage allows us to live authentically, pursue our values, and find fulfillment beyond material wealth. Detachment also involves reevaluating our relationship with time. In our pursuit of wealth and success, we often become preoccupied with the future, neglecting the present moment. The Stoics encouraged living in the here and now, fully embracing the present and finding joy in our daily experiences. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." By practicing detachment from our past regrets and future anxieties, we can cultivate a sense of presence and gratitude that enriches our lives. In embracing the art of detachment, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of abundance and fulfillment. We learn to let go of our attachments to material possessions, outcomes, and desires, and instead focus on cultivating inner freedom, resilience, and presence. This practice allows us to navigate life with greater equanimity, find contentment in the present moment, and experience true wealth, a wealth that is not dependent on external circumstances but arises from within. In our final chapter, we explore the power of perspective and how it shapes our experience of wealth and fulfillment. The Stoics believed that our thoughts and perceptions play a crucial role in determining our reality. By cultivating a Stoic mindset and adopting a positive perspective, we can transform our experience of wealth and create a richer, more meaningful life. One of the central tenets of Stoic philosophy is the idea that our thoughts shape our reality. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This statement underscores the importance of our perceptions and interpretations in shaping our experience. By changing our thoughts and attitudes, we can change how we experience the world and find greater contentment and fulfillment. The Stoics encouraged practicing gratitude as a way to shift our perspective and enhance our experience of wealth. By regularly acknowledging and appreciating the blessings in our lives, we can cultivate a sense of abundance and reduce our focus on what we lack. This practice helps us develop a positive outlook and find joy in the present moment. As Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Another aspect of cultivating a positive perspective is practicing acceptance. The Stoics believed that many of our sufferings come from resisting reality and wishing things were different. Instead, they advocated accepting life as it is and focusing on what we can control. By embracing this mindset, we can reduce our stress and anxiety and find greater peace and contentment. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." The power of perspective also involves recognizing the transient nature of material wealth. The Stoics taught that all external possessions are temporary and subject to change. By understanding this, we can develop a more balanced and detached view of wealth, focusing on what truly matters. This perspective helps us navigate the ups and downs of life with greater equanimity and find lasting fulfillment beyond material possessions. Practicing mindfulness is another powerful tool for shaping our perspective. By cultivating awareness of our thoughts and emotions, we can gain greater control over our reactions and develop a more positive outlook. Mindfulness helps us stay present, appreciate the moment, and respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and composure. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of purpose in shaping our perspective and experience of wealth. By aligning our actions with our values and pursuing meaningful goals, we can create a sense of purpose and fulfillment that transcends material wealth. As Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This statement reminds us to reflect on our deepest aspirations and make conscious choices that align with them. In embracing the power of perspective, we can transform our experience of wealth and create a richer, more meaningful life. By cultivating gratitude, acceptance, mindfulness, and purpose, we can shape our reality in a way that enhances our sense of abundance and fulfillment. This journey is not about changing our external circumstances, but about changing how we perceive and respond to them. By adopting a Stoic mindset and focusing on what truly matters, we can find true wealth, a wealth that arises from within and enriches our lives in profound and lasting ways. Embrace Stoicism, and you will discover a path to true success that has stood the test of time.